Hello and welcome back. So just got home from work, make me a little cup of coffee and get medications ready for tomorrow. These are for the puppers, and that's my thyroid medication I take in the morning. And normally when I come home, make my coffee, I do a quick sweep of everybody, just kind of look, see if anybody needs water, spend about 30 minutes, and then I sit in that chair, relax a little bit, feed the dogs. You know, the things you do when you're working full time, you get home and you're like, oh, I gotta do this. And usually rush through. So this is coming in from my back door. Make my coffee, and a moment ago, while I was waiting on the coffee to brew, I happened to look up and I noticed something. This right here caught my eye. And we'll go look at her in a minute, but it made me think, do we appreciate our grow space? Like, we come in, whether you grow in your home, greenhouse, you have a room that's completely separate, dedicated to your orchids. I, of course, grow in my living room for those of you who are new. And I think I appreciate my grow space, but it really dawned on me, I do not appreciate it the way I should. So let's go over here, because we're always shooting for those blooms, but do we appreciate the greenness and the new growth of just the orchid herself? For instance, the Spectabilis, Miltonia Spectabilis, like she has 7 new lovely growths on her. I can't even say that, Encephalium. She had these 2 new growths, and now she's got a 3rd new growth coming back here. And then look at the Murasaki. Guys, look at those blooms. They are just beautiful. And I love how they're sitting on this other Zygopetalum here. It's sitting on the Sensor Blue. But oh my goodness, so gorgeous. Again, this Phalaenopsis here, my Mewtwo King, I've had, let me just double check real quick, since May of 22. It's never bloomed for me. And I get upset about it, and I know I mention all the time, oh, it's time for it to bloom, but then I got to thinking, look at the leaf growth. It may not have bloomed, but it's still growing, and I don't appreciate that enough. And let me see if I can do this without too much of a glare. And Sherry, thank you for identifying my yin yang. This is actually Miss Cleopatra. I'll probably still call her yin yang, but if you look up Phalaenopsis Cleopatra, if you would like this orchid, that is what the name of this one is. This one here that was struggling is the Geho Summer fragrance, something like that. Zoom in so you can see the tag. Yeah, Geho Summer, growing well. My Vandas, which, you know, back in the day they said you had to have them all bear root, pretty much have them all in different setups, and they're all doing really well. And let's talk about a non-orchid. So this is one of the either Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus. And I didn't let it bloom this year, but look at the growth on that. I've had it 2 years. I got it as like one of those little small plants that you can just buy at the store. And now look at it. I mean, the African violet back there. I got to walking around, and I should really be appreciative of what these ladies are doing. Yes, I don't spend as much, I spend more time watering them than really looking at them, and that's really the only time I look at them. But how many of you also just rush home from work, run into your orchid space, whether it's in your main living area or just off to the side somewhere, greenhouse, run in, just kind of run through, say, oh, you need a little bit of water, you need a little bit of water, etc. But you don't really stop and appreciate. My Hippodomia on this mount here, let me take her off so I can show you guys. Look at the growth. When I got this, it was all tiny, and it's just shooting out with growth. We have a possible spike, and if it spikes, yeah, great. If it doesn't, you know, I'm happy with what it's doing. So let me know in the comments if you appreciate your grow space, regardless of where it is, and what do you do to kind of stop and smell the orchids, so to speak. I understand not all orchids smell, but while we're talking about it real quick, This is why I love this orchid right here so much. This is my Taishing Fly Eagle. She has 3 blooms, and as you can see, active root tips and a nice new leaf coming in. That is one of my favorites along with the Mini Mark, but she is always doing something. Again, we don't appreciate things like that. We just are always looking for blooms, looking for blooms, looking for spikes. I know I am, but I have to stop and appreciate the vegetative growth as well, because without that vegetative growth, we don't get those beautiful blooms. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Let me know in the comments about your grow space.